Can you imagine Spain becoming the biggest favorite to win the World Cup without needing a single Real Madrid player? Because that is exactly what is happening right now. And somehow, that is not even the scariest part. The scariest part is that Luis de la Fuente has built a Spain team that does not really feel like a national team anymore. It feels like a club side, a team with automatic chemistry, a team with shared habits, a team with players who already know where the pass is going before the ball even arrives. And at the heart of it all is Barcelona: Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres, Eric Garcia, Pau Cubarsí, Joan Garcia. That is not just a group of talented players. That is a football language. And when a national team starts playing with club-level chemistry, the rest of the world has a serious problem. Because Spain do not only have Barcelona's core, they also have Rodri, Martin Zubimendi, Fabian Ruiz, Mikel Merino, Nico Williams, Mikel Oyarzabal, Marc Cucurella, David Raya, Unai Simon, and one of the deepest midfields in international football. This team has control. It has speed, it has aggression, it has creativity, it has experience. It has players who have already won massive games, and most importantly, it has belief. Spain already destroyed Europe in 2024. 7 games, 7 wins, 15 goals scored, only 4 conceded. Croatia, Italy, Germany, France, England. One by one, they all fell. And now in 2026, Spain are not arriving as a surprise anymore. They are arriving as a warning. But to understand why this new Spain team feels so dangerous, you need to understand what Spain used to be. Because before the golden generation, Spain were not feared like this. They were respected, yes. They always had quality. They always had technical players. They always had names people knew. But they also had a reputation that followed them everywhere. Spain were the team that looked beautiful until the pressure arrived. The team that passed well until the knockout rounds. The team that promised everything and then disappeared when the tournament became cruel. Quarter-final exits, shock defeats, painful collapses. Every generation carried talent, but the story always ended the same way. Spain were good, but they were not inevitable. Then came 2008, and everything changed. Luis Aragonés did not just build a team, he built a belief system. Iker Casillas in goal, Carles Puyol at the back, Sergio Ramos with power and arrogance, Xavi controlling the rhythm, Iniesta floating between bodies like football was happening in slow motion, David Villa scoring, Fernando Torres attacking space, Cesc Fabregas arriving with intelligence. Suddenly, Spain were not just passing the ball for beauty. They were passing the ball to suffocate you. They were not just keeping possession. They were removing your hope. At Euro 2008, Spain beat Italy on penalties, destroyed Russia in the semi-final, and then Fernando Torres scored that iconic goal against Germany in the final. Spain had finally broken the curse. But that was only the beginning. In 2010, they went to South Africa and became immortal. Vicente del Bosque took the same identity and made it colder, calmer, more controlled. Spain did not blow teams away. They squeezed them. They held the ball until opponents stopped believing. David Villa carried the attack. Casillas produced saves that changed history. Puyol rose like a warrior against Germany. And in the final, Andrés Iniesta scored the goal that made Spain world champions. That was not just a trophy. That was a transformation. Spain had gone from nearly men to football's ultimate authority. And then in 2012, they completed the dynasty. Euro 2012 was not just another win. It was domination. By the time they destroyed Italy 4-0 in the final, Spain were no longer just champions. They were the standard. 3 major tournaments in a row. Euro 2008, World Cup 2010, Euro 2012. No national team had ever controlled modern football like that. They had changed how the world understood the game. They made possession a weapon. They made midfielders the main characters. They made patience terrifying. But every dynasty eventually faces the same enemy. Time Xavi aged, Iniesta aged, Puyol disappeared, Villa and Torres moved on, Casillas declined, the magic started to fade. And after 2012, Spain entered a strange period. They still had the ball, they still had technical players, they still looked like Spain, but something was missing. The edge was gone, the fear was gone, opponents stopped panicking, low blocks became the solution, compact defenses waited, Spain passed and passed and passed. But the knife was no longer sharp. At the 2018 World Cup, Russia dragged them into penalties and sent them home. In 2022, Morocco did the same. More possession, more passes, more frustration, another painful exit. And suddenly the football world started asking the same question again. Had Spain become beautiful but harmless? Then Luis de la Fuente arrived with a different answer. He did not throw Spain's identity away. He updated it. He kept the control. He kept the technical base. He kept the midfield intelligence. But he added something Spain had been missing for years: verticality. Direct runners, wide threats, young players with no fear. Suddenly, Spain did not just circulate the ball, they attacked space. They did not just dominate possession, they damaged opponents. And the face of that new Spain was a 16-year-old from Barcelona named Lamine Yamal. At Euro 2024, Yamal did not play like a teenager enjoying the experience. He played like someone who had come to take the tournament. Every time he received the ball on the right side, defenders had a decision to make. Step toward him, and he could glide past them. Back away, and he could bend a pass through the line. Give him space, and he could shoot. Close him down, and he could create for someone else. But Spain were not only Lamine. On the other side was Nico Williams, a winger who plays for Spain like the shirt gives him extra electricity. Together, Lamine and Nico changed the entire feeling of the team. Spain were no longer just controlling you through midfield. They were stretching you wide, attacking you 1v1, forcing your fullbacks to retreat, and creating space inside for Pedri, Fabian, Rodri, Olmo, and Ruiz to destroy you. That is why Euro 2024 mattered so much. Spain did not just win, they won in a way that felt like a rebirth. Croatia were beaten, Italy were beaten, Albania were beaten, Georgia were overwhelmed. Germany, the host nation, were knocked out after Mikel Merino's unforgettable late winner. France were beaten in the semi-final after Lamine Yamal produced one of the defining goals of the tournament. And in the final against England, Yamal found Nico Williams, Oyarzabal scored the winner, and Spain were European champions again. But this title felt different from 2008, different from 2010, different from 2012. That old Spain controlled you until you suffocated. This new Spain controls you, and then cuts you open. That is the evolution. That is why 2026 feels so dangerous, because now Spain are not trying to prove they are back. They already did that. Now they are trying to prove this is the start of a new era. And when you look at the squad, the argument becomes frightening. Start with the goalkeepers. Spain have Unai Simon, a goalkeeper Luis de la Fuente trusts deeply because he has already lived through big tournaments with him. They have David Raya, one of the best shot stoppers in the Premier League, a goalkeeper who has grown into an elite presence under pressure. And then there is Joan Garcia, another Barcelona-linked piece in this new Spanish puzzle. A modern goalkeeper with reflexes, confidence, and the kind of personality that makes defenders believe the last line is secure. That matters in tournament football, because World Cups are not only won by attackers, they are won by moments. One hand, one reaction, one goalkeeper refusing to let the story end. Then there is the defense. Spain suffered a major problem with Dani Carvajal's absence, because during Euro 2024 his connection with Lamine Yamal gave Spain one of their most dangerous right-sided weapons. But this team has solutions. Pedro Porro brings crossing and energy. Marcos Llorente brings athleticism and versatility. Marc Cucurella has become a machine on the left side, relentless, aggressive, constantly arriving, constantly pressing, constantly giving Spain width and intensity. Alex Grimaldo gives them another technical outlet. And in central defense, the name that changes everything is Pau Cubarsí. Because Cubarsí is not normal, he plays center back with the calm of a midfielder. He passes through pressure, he breaks lines, he defends space, he reads danger early, and he does not look scared by the size of the stage. For Spain, that is priceless. Because when your center back can start attacks with that level of intelligence, the whole team moves higher. The midfield receives cleaner. The wingers get the ball earlier. The opponent's press becomes a risk instead of a weapon. Alongside him, Eric Garcia becomes important for a different reason. He is not the flashiest defender, he is not the biggest name, but he understands structure. He can play center back, he can step into midfield, he can help build from the back. He gives a coach options, and in a World Cup, options are gold. But the real reason Spain terrify people is the midfield. This is where the story becomes absurd, because Spain have not just one midfield identity, they have several. Rodri gives them control, power, positioning, and calm. He is the kind of defensive midfielder who makes the entire team feel safer. When Rodri is there, Spain can breathe. He slows chaos down. He wins second balls. He protects transitions. He gives the team authority. Then there is Martín Zubimendi, the heir to that same tradition of Spanish midfielders who look like they are never in a hurry. Zubimendi does not need to shout. He does not need to sprint everywhere. He controls games through angles, timing, body shape, and decisions. He is the kind of player casual fans might miss, until he is not there and suddenly everything feels broken. But the jewel is Pedri. Pedri is the player who makes Spain feel like Spain again. He does not just pass, he pauses, he invites pressure, he escapes it. He sees the next move before the opponent has understood the current one. In tight spaces he is terrifying because he does not panic. He almost seems to enjoy being surrounded. A little drop of the shoulder, a 1-2, a turn, a disguised pass. Suddenly, 3 defenders are out of the game and Spain are attacking the final third. That is why Pedri is so important. He gives Spain control, but not slow control. He gives them creative control, the kind that can turn possession into danger. And around him, the options are ridiculous. Fabian Ruiz, who has grown into one of the symbols of Luis Enrique's PSG project. Mikel Merino, who brings height, timing, late runs, and a genuine goal threat from midfield. Dani Olmo, who seems physically incapable of making football boring, always finding pockets, always appearing between the lines, always choosing the aggressive option. Alex Baena, another creator who gives Spain final third imagination. And Gavi, the emotional engine. Gavi is different. He gives Spain something that is impossible to measure properly: rage, intensity, personality, the willingness to turn every loose ball into a fight. After a devastating injury, he returned and immediately reminded everyone why coaches love him. He presses like the game personally offended him. He tackles like every duel matters. He plays with the energy of someone who refuses to let the opponent breathe. And when you put that next to Pedri's calm, Rodri's control, Zubamendi's intelligence, Fabian's progression and Olmo's creativity, Spain's midfield starts to look unfair. But then comes the attack. And this is where the World Cup starts trembling. Because Spain have Lamine Yamal, and Lamine is not just a talented teenager anymore. He is one of football's main characters. At Barcelona and with Spain, he has already become the player opponents build plans around. Double up on him, push him wide, force him onto his weaker side, block the passing lane inside. It does not matter. He keeps finding solutions. What makes him special is not just the dribble. It is the timing of the decision after the dribble. He knows when to beat the man. He knows when to release the ball. He knows when to slow the defender down, then explode. He plays with the arrogance of a street footballer and the education of La Masia. That combination is terrifying. On the left, Nico Williams gives Spain the perfect contrast. If Lamine manipulates, Nico detonates. He attacks space like he is trying to rip the pitch open. He runs at defenders with violence. He stretches back lines. He gives Spain the kind of direct threat they lacked for years. And together, Lamine and Nico are not just two wingers. They are a tactical problem. Defend narrow and they isolate your fullbacks. Defend wide and Pedri and Olmo kill you inside. Press high and Spain play through you. Sit deep and Spain's midfield starts finding cutbacks, switches, and second waves. Then there is Oyarzabal, the man Spain trust when the moment becomes heavy. He may not always be the loudest name, but he scores important goals. And in tournament football, that is everything. Ferran Torres brings movement, confidence, and goals. He can play across the front line, attack the box, press, and appear in moments that decide matches. Yeremy Pino brings another direct option. Borja Iglesias gives a different profile. Victor Munoz adds depth and unpredictability. And that matters because Spain may have to manage fitness concerns around some of their most explosive attackers early in the tournament. But even that creates another dangerous truth. This team is not built on one player. It is built on a structure. Lose one weapon and another enters. Change one winger and the midfield still controls the game. Rotate one fullback and the idea remains the same. That is why Spain feel more stable than most national teams. They are not just a collection of stars. They are a system with stars inside it. And this brings us back to the most controversial part of the story, Real Madrid. For almost a century, Spanish football identity has been impossible to separate from Real Madrid. The club of Di Stefano, Butragueño, Raúl, Casillas, Ramos, Xabi Alonso, Carvajal. Madrid have always been part of Spain's football soul. So the idea of Spain going into a World Cup as one of the favorites without a major Real Madrid presence feels almost impossible. But football does not care about tradition when form, chemistry, and tactical fit tell a different story. Right now, Spain's core is not Madrid, it is Barcelona. And that is what makes this team so fascinating. Because this is not just about club rivalry. It is about chemistry. When 8 players come from the same club environment, they bring habits with them. The way they press, the way they receive, the way they rotate, the way they use space, the way they trust each other. National teams usually do not have enough time to build that. Club teams train every day. National teams meet for short windows and try to create relationships quickly. But if half your team already shares the same football language, you skip years of development. That is what made Spain's old golden generation so powerful. Barcelona and Real Madrid players merged into one Spanish identity. Now something similar is happening again, but with a different shape. Less tiki-taka purity, more verticality, more pressing, more wide danger, more physicality, more transition threat. And that is the twist. This Spain team is not a copy of the golden generation. It is not trying to be Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Villa, Torres, Puyol, and Casillas all over again. It is something else. It has the brain of old Spain but the legs of modern football. It has the control of 2010 but the speed of 2026. It can pass you to death, but it can also run behind you. It can dominate the ball, but it can also hurt you in transition. It can slow the game down through Pedri and Rodri, then suddenly explode through Lamine and Nico. That is why this team feels so dangerous. Opponents cannot prepare for just one version of Spain. If they press, Spain can play through them. If they sit deep, Spain can stretch them. If they double Lamine, Pedri gets space. If they close the middle, Nico attacks the wing. If they block the wingers, the midfield arrives late. If they survive all of that, Oyarzabal might still score the goal that breaks them. That is what World Cup contenders look like. Not perfect teams, flexible teams, teams with answers. Teams that can suffer and still win. Teams that know who they are. And Spain know exactly who they are now. They are no longer the beautiful team without a knife. They are no longer the possession side that cannot break a low block. They are no longer living in the shadow of 2010. They are building something new, something younger, faster, more aggressive, more fearless. And the most frightening thing is that they have already proven it works. Euro 7 wins from 7 world champions beaten along the way. England beaten in the final. Lamine Yamal announcing himself to the world. Nico Williams exploding. Rodri controlling. Pedri creating. Oyarzabal deciding. That was not just a tournament victory. That was Spain sending a message. And now the message is even louder. Because in 2026, Spain are not chasing respect. They already have it. They are not chasing identity. They already found it. They are not chasing belief. They already earned it. They are chasing the one thing that would make this generation immortal, a World Cup. And if they win it, the conversation changes forever. Suddenly, this is not just a fun young team. It is not just a Euro-winning generation. It is not just a Barcelona-heavy Spain side that annoyed Real Madrid fans. It becomes the beginning of a new Spanish dynasty. Maybe not the same as 2008 to 2012. Maybe not as patient, maybe not as romantic, but maybe more complete for modern football. Because this Spain can control, this Spain can press, this Spain can run, this Spain can score, this Spain can suffer, and this Spain can win without needing to be loved by everyone. So yes, the headline is shocking. Spain could go to the World Cup without Real Madrid at the center of the story. But the deeper truth is even scarier. Spain may not need to recreate the past anymore. They may have already built the future. And if Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, Nico Williams, Rodri, Cubarsí, Zubimendi, Olmo, Fabian, Raya, Cucurella, Merino, and Oyarzabal all arrive healthy, confident, and connected, then the rest of the world has a problem, because Spain are not just coming to